So yeah, I'm popping on real quick because I had some things I wanted to talk about. Wanted to go ahead and ask you guys some questions to get some real feedback, right? Um, Now, I understand that the things I talk about may not be the types of things that people want to talk about or learn about. But what I want to do is I kind of want to dive into your guys' heads, kind of see where your headspace is at, to see if there's something that you guys prefer me to talk about or prefer me to ask questions or answer questions about. Because at the end of the day, my ultimate goal is just to kind of help you guys with your finances, right? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times people are coming to me for credit repair, not really understanding the basis behind credit repair. So I kind of wanted to break that down in this video and kind of explain to you guys kind of how it works and the reason why I'm here doing this video for you guys, right? So the first thing I want to talk about, who am I? My name is Fred. I've been doing credit repair for about 23 years now. This is my 23rd year. June is my anniversary, so I'm coming up on that real quick. And the reason why I wanted to kind of give you guys kind of a little bit about my backstory is because most times people say, hey, you're in a different place than me, you're in a different space, right? But when I first got started in this industry, it was because I was where you guys are at now, right? And it's not an overnight success. It's not an overnight thing that just happens, right? There is a lot of learning that I had to go through and grow through to get to where I am today, right? And it didn't take just like getting started back then, right? But it was like a journey. So my journey is not your journey, and your journey is not going to be my journey, right? And when I talk to you guys and kind of do these videos, it's kind of, I want to try to get into your head to kind of try to help educate you. But at the same time, I want to try to switch the switch on you on how you guys are thinking, right? Because a lot of times we might have a couple $100 and we'll go spend that full $200, right? And not realizing, hey, I could have done something better, more beneficial for myself if I would have spent it in a different way, right? Because a lot of times we go spend money frivolously, and when we do that, afterwards, a lot of times, well, at least in my case, a lot of times I'll be like, man, I shouldn't have did that. I should have held back. I should have just waited to get that thing, because a lot of times I have that mindset, like when I want something, I want it now. But the thing is, I had to take a step back, right? And 2023 is going to be the year that I'm fully going to immerse myself in my teachings of what I talk to you guys about, because I don't think it's cool for me to tell you guys to do things but not do them myself, right? And keep in mind, right, I may be in a different place than you financially, with my credit, or whatever the case is, right? But, I'm not where I want to be. We all have ultimate goals that we want to reach and want to get to. And when I do these videos, it's to try to reach you guys, right? Try to see, like, what are your goals? Like, and I say this from all sincerity, but I'm trying to figure out what you want, right? Because if I can figure out what you want, then I'm going to be able to, I'm going to be able to help you get there, right? I'm going to help guide you, help coach you to get there. Because at the end of the day, we want to get the things that we want to get, but there's a certain way that we have to go about getting it. We can't just go spend everything we got without keeping in mind that we do have to have an emergency fund, right? And so my services, right? I changed, and I've made a lot of videos on this, that I changed from doing credit repair. I changed arenas to get into the financial consulting arena because I wanted to help people, right? Yeah, I'm helping people with their credit, but if I can help you with your credit and you don't know how to implement everything that goes along with that, then you're kind of you're gonna get back into the same situation, right? So that's where I had to make my shift, right? And it's 3 years in the making, right? I did it, right? And it was hard work, right? I didn't stop. I kept grinding. I kept going after what it was that I wanted for my clients. Because at the end of the day, credit repair is just a Band-Aid on the bigger issue, right? And I tell this to people all the time. And the reason why I tell people this all the time is because I want to help you guys start thinking and realizing exactly what it is that I'm talking about, right? And when it comes to having good credit, there's a foundation, right? And the foundation is to putting in place a proper budget. Okay, so you can have all the credit you want. You could have a 750, 800, whatever the case is. You can have all that stuff, and having it is one thing, but maintaining it is something different, right? Like a lot of times people say, "Hey, I got a 750 credit score." Well, your credit score isn't like a number that you just have, right? It changes all the time. Like if you go spend something on a credit card, it's going to change. If you make a payment on something, it's going to change. If you make a late payment, it's going to change, right? And if you get a collection, it's going to change. So all these things happening all at the same time, there's a lot of changes. So you could look at your credit report 3 days ago and then look at it again today, and the number could be different, right? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times people are focused on that credit score. And I don't want you guys to focus necessarily on the credit score, but put more of your focus on the underlying issues, right? As far as putting your budget in place and getting your financial house in order. Now, I always talk about financial house, right? What does that mean, right? We need to know 4 basic things, right? We need to know how much income is coming in, how much expenses are going out, what our debt is, and how much cash flow, if any, that we have at the end of the month, right? So by having these numbers in place and knowing exactly where they are, you'll have a better understanding as far as how to move towards your ultimate financial goals, right? And when I made my switch over to going into the consulting arena, it was with the intent, right, to not just get you to reach your goals as far as like in the short term, but it's more of a long-term play, right? I want to get you guys to where you need to be over the long term. And what does the long term mean? I'm talking about like getting into your retirement ages, right? And that number could look a lot different, based on where you are today, right? Because all of my clients are in different areas of their lives. Like I got people in their 20s all the way up to their 60s, right? So where do you fall as far as age range, right? Where do you fall in there, right? And then where are you currently living at as far as where your finances are, right? Do you have anything that acts as insurance, like a 401k, right? IRA, individual retirement account, they say. So there's certain things that I kind of want to pull out of you guys to kind of get you guys to start seeing exactly what things are, right? And until you put together a real budget, right? And when I say a real budget, like you can put numbers that are like, guesstimates. That's not real, right? When I talk real, I'm talking about let's go pull your bank statements. Let's kind of see exactly where the money is being spent, right? Because if we go to 7-Eleven and buy a big gulp and some chips, right, we might not include that in our budget, but that's absolutely part of our budget because it's part of the money that we spent. It's part of our expenses, right? Take your electrical bill. That amount is not going to be the same every single month, right? You may be able to take 1 year and get an average, right? But every month, like month to month, it's not going to be the same. Now, let's take your rent or your mortgage. That number could be the same. That would probably be the same number month in and month out, unless they start raising your rents, right? So things like these are the things that I want you guys to focus on as far as just kind of getting your budget into order. So making this video, kind of wanted to come bring you guys some things that I thought would be something that you guys could benefit from, right? Because if you get that part of your area fixed, like getting your budget in order, knowing how much is coming in, how much is going out, without having to worry about, hey, do I have enough money to pay for this? Or do I have enough money to go out? Because sometimes we do have to say no. Like, it sucks, right? That we may get invited to go out to eat, right? But we can't afford to go, right? And a lot of times people will say, well, I can't afford to go, but I'm a little bit embarrassed to let them know. So I'm just going to go, right? Because we want to live with the Joneses, right? But we got to keep in mind that the Joneses are broke too. They're all doing this. We're all in the same boat, kind of like a revolving, it's like a hamster wheel. We keep doing the same thing, thinking that our situation is going to change. But if we're doing the same thing day in and day out, but we're getting the same results, there's something that we have to change, right? I once heard someone say, if you want to change, you have to change, right? And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. If you guys want better financially, you got to do better financially, right? Sometimes we have to do those uncomfortable no's, like I can't afford to go, right? And the people will understand, right? If they've invited you and you can't afford to go, they'll understand that, right? Maybe they might invite you anyway and say, hey, don't worry about it. I'll go ahead and pay for it, right? Now that's up to you if you want to go. You know, sometimes people may expect that same thing back sometime down the road. So it all depends upon your relationship with that person. Like if you're going to be able to say, hey, you know, I appreciate the offer, but right now I'm kind of in my journey because I'm trying to get financially free, right? So these are the types of things that I want to talk about with you guys. And that's what I do with my clients on the financial consulting arena, right? In my financial consulting business, what we're doing is we're not necessarily focusing on credit, although I do help with the dispute letters going out because I want to address that, right? Because if something's on your credit report and it's affecting you negatively, my goal as your coach and your mentor, financial mentor, is I want to be able to go out and say, hey, look, this stuff is on my credit report. It's hurting me, right? Now, when I try to go buy a car, I'm going to have a high interest rate, right? So we want to try to eliminate that. So that's why as you go through the program, we're going to be getting those letters out to the credit bureaus, secondary bureaus, furnishers, right? Because we want to make sure that what they're reporting, 1, is correct, 2, is verifiable, 3, is reported within an allotted time frame, but more importantly, 4, that it belongs to you, right? Because sometimes you might have a mixed name, right? You might have, like, you might be a junior or a similar name, right? Because they don't necessarily take the same information. They don't necessarily check your social security number, date of birth. So there's these types of things you got to think about, right? So as you go through my program, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help work on those issues, but we want to start addressing the root problem, that root cause, right? It's a common denominator across thousands and thousands and thousands of credit reports that I've looked at over my lifetime. And that's what I want to focus on. I'm going to focus on that on my own, right? But with my clients, what you guys are going to be responsible for is going through the curriculum that I'm going to put you through, right? And the reason why I thought it was going to be better for you guys this way is because, 1, I'm going to give you guys the information. It's kind of like we're taking you back to school, right? You're going to go back to school. I'm going to teach you guys. I'm going to give you guys information. You're going to read up on it, right? And then when we meet up, you know, depending upon the program that we have, it's going to be 15, 30, or 60 minutes that we're going to go ahead and start talking about what you guys read about. And then 2, we're going to start implementing changes, right? You know, one of the things that we do discuss is putting together that budget, right? And that's what we're going to do in the beginning, because we want to make sure that you're going to ultimately be able to take care of yourself financially, right? We don't want you in a position where things are going to hurt when you pay for something. Like, do I have to pay? Do I pay this or do I pay this bill, right? Am I going to go out to eat for lunch, or I'm going to bring my lunch, right? There's nothing wrong with brown bagging it, right? I'm just saying, like, I bring my lunch every day for the most part, right? I'd say probably 95% of the time I'm bringing my lunch when I go to work. So these are the types of things I want you guys to start thinking about, right? After we talk about that, then we're going to show you how to automate your bill payment, right? So paying your bills, put that on automation, so that way you don't have to worry about, oh, did I pay this bill? Snap, I just got a 30-day late. Now my credit just took a hit, right? And anything that happens within your credit within the last 24 months is going to have the biggest impact. So these are the things that, if you have your financial house in order, if you're making your payments on time, right? If you set them up to be paid automatically, where you're not having to physically cut a check or physically log in and mail that payment out through bill pay, you already have it set up. Once you do that, then things are going to be good. They're going to start falling in line, right? And a lot of times people say, hey, how am I going to do that? I don't even know if I'm going to have the money in the bank at the time when they pull that payment. That's when we fall back to step 1, the budget, right? So everything revolves around your budget. As long as you got your budget in order, you know how much is coming in. You got your 4 numbers, right? We're going to go over that again. Income, expenses, debt, cash flow. Cash flow is how much you have at the end of the month, right? Is that a positive or a negative number? If it's negative, we need to work on that, right? And how do we work on that? This is where we start looking at our expenses, right? Is there any way that we can cut back on some of the things that we're doing, right? Some of the things that we're paying for. A lot of times we get a gym membership at the beginning of the year because, new year, new me type of thing, right? And we might go for the first week or two and then we fall off, right? But now we're paying that debt and we don't even worry about it. That's on auto pay, right? Whether you're going to like a $10 a month gym, it's still $10, right? That $10 can be allocated somewhere else, right? So these are the types of things, right? I want to show you the value that you're going to get with me versus the value of going with a traditional credit repair company, right? Because with me, I'm doing credit repair for free, basically, right? And I'm charging a fraction of the cost of a financial consultant or a financial coach, right? So the ball's in your court, right? What do you want to do, right? Do you want to continue living the way that you've been living, barely scraping to make it by, living paycheck to paycheck, right? Do you guys have an emergency fund, right? These are the types of things that we're going to talk about. Emergency fund is very important, right? I'm going to keep it real. My emergency fund is not where it once was. I like to keep at least 6 months in the bank for emergencies, right? So you have how much you make monthly, right? From your numbers, your 4 numbers, your income, you multiply that by whatever you get paid, right? If you get paid every other week, that's 26 payments a year. Take your weekly check or your bi-weekly check, multiply that by 26, and then divide it by 12. That's how much you get monthly, right? So you want at least 3 to 6 months in there, right? But you have to start somewhere, right? So what I always recommend, start with $1,000, right? Put $1,000 into emergency fund, then start working on your debt, right? So, like I said, I'm going to keep going back to the same thing over and over again. And the reason being is because I want you guys to kind of understand what it is I'm talking about, understand the changes that you're going to have to make, understand that it's not going to be easy. It is going to be difficult. There's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be some rejections, some hard times, you want to do certain things that you're not going to be able to do, right? Because you're on this journey to get yourself right. I promise you guys, if you guys just take 1 year, take the rest of 2023, right? We're already down a month, and that's how fast time is going, right? We just celebrated the new year, and now we're already in February, right? So how fast we're moving, I don't know about you guys, but for me, every time it seems like every year goes by faster and faster and faster. It's just getting me to my retirement age a little bit faster, but hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing what I do, right? But I made it a goal for myself for 2023 to pay off my car, right? Now, on my car, I was supposed to pay it off by March, right? And I'm behind that schedule. My car loan is a 6-year loan. I wanted it paid in 3 years, right? And I didn't make that happen. I still owe $14,000. So today's February 5th. It's Sunday, right? February 5th, 2023. I'm going to show you guys how hard I work towards my goals at the end of this year. So make light of that. I'm going to make a promise. I hope this is a promise I could keep, right? Because I don't know where it's gonna end up, right? But that's where I'm shooting for, is to pay that off, right? And I'm hoping to blow that out the water, but time will tell, right? I do make additional payments. Like as of right now, I'm already paid through June, right? But I got a lot of roadway to go, right? It's over $1,000 a month. So I'm going to be probably paying 3 payments per month to get me to my goal, right? As long as I do that, I'm going to be there. So that's one of my things, right? And I'm asking you guys, put in the comments, what are your guys' goals? What are you guys' aspirations financially? Do you guys have an emergency budget, right? If so, do you have $1,000? Do you have 3 months or 6 months? Where do you stand, right? And so I'm asking you guys these questions because I want the feedback. I want to see where you guys are right? If you guys want me to keep making these videos, I'd like to know about it. If you have suggestions, I'd like to know about that as well. I'm just over here trying to do what I can do to try to help educate you guys, to try to help motivate you guys, try to help get you guys down the road of financial success. But you have to start, right? You just have to get started. No matter where you are, don't let it seem like you're not able to get started. Like a lot of times people say, I'm going to start on Monday, right? That's like whenever I go on a diet, my diet always starts on Monday. I could be on Monday morning, but I'm going to start next Monday, right? So I don't know where you guys are, where you guys stand on that. I'm just trying to do me, trying to help rub a little bit off of what I'm doing and what I'm learning to try to help you guys to get in that position so that you guys get to where you want to go, right? So with that being said, just wanted to thank you guys for taking a few minutes out. I was trying to do like a 5-minute video, kind of went over, And then one more thing, because I just watched a video on this on YouTube. So this last thing I want to talk about before I let you guys go, right? They say that 50% of Americans have a life insurance policy in place, right? So my question to you, and I hope I can get some feedback in the comments below, right? 50%. So 100% of us are going to die, right? We just don't know when we are going to die, but 100% of us are going to die, right? But only 50% of us have a life insurance policy in place. Where do you stand with that? One, I wanted to know, do you have a life insurance policy in place? 2, if not, why not? 3, how much of a policy do you have? 4, and this is not really a question, but more of a statement. Life insurance is not as expensive as most people believe it is to be, right? It's not as expensive as most people believe it is, right? And it's going to be the absolute cheapest that you could ever buy it today. Because let's say today you have no issues, right? And you have an appointment on Wednesday of this coming week, and you find out that you have diabetes, right? Now your price goes from here, and it's going to increase up to here, right? We don't know how much that amount is going to be. It depends on your age, if there's anything else that they find. So it's always going to be the cheapest now. So if you're interested in getting a quote for some life insurance, I'm gonna leave it in the description, right? I'm gonna leave my link on there. You just click on the link. It's going to take you, and it will give you a quote. You don't have to talk to nobody, because a lot of times people will fill out a form to get a life insurance quote, but when they get called, they do the that wasn't me. I didn't do that. Somebody else must have did it in my name. So for those of you guys who just want to get a quote to see how much it costs, you can do so at the link, right? You just click on the link, put, it's going to ask you your age, male or female, credit, and health, right? Put those numbers in. It will give you a guesstimate of what your quote is going to be. Now, if it's something that you're cool with, go through the application. You can apply for an application right online. You don't have to talk to nobody. You don't have to deal with nobody. You could do everything in less than 10 minutes. So if that's something you want to do, I just urge you guys, right, just to start somewhere, because right now you have to start putting things in place. You have to start putting your life in order, right? We've done things one way our whole lives. Now it's time for us to start mentally challenging ourselves to get ourselves in a better financial position as we get older. So with that being said, again, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. If you find something valuable in this video, I appreciate a thumbs up, right? Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification. That way, whenever I drop a video, you'll be the first to be notified. And with that being said, have a good one, man. Happy Sunday.